So Equator Kenya Limited is a producer and exporter of birdside chilies. So we produce by contracting 8,000 farmers for the production of birdside chilies. We process centrally. That means we basically buy from all our farmers. We collect, we bring it to our office. We have 2 big dryers, state-of-the-art dryers, in which we process the chilies, which help us to achieve the quality that we need. And then we export. So our clients are very demanding clients in the international export market, mainly in Europe, but also in Asia. Asia, there are mainly countries like South Korea or like Singapore, where quality is really key. Being an exporter means that we can link our farmers, that are subsistence farmers, to the very demanding export market, to a premium paying export market, which allows us to pay a premium to the farmers. At the same time, it requires from us to be always on top of the latest requirements of the standards, comply with each market standard that is coming up. So the latest one, for example, is the supply chain legislations in Europe, where basically now clients demand to have a fully traceable system, or to be in charge, no, not to be in charge, but to manage fully the entire supply chain. Now you can imagine, again, 8,000 farmers is quite challenging, and to be able to assure transparency, to assure traceability and accountability is not an easy task. So what does it mean, transparency? Our clients want us to know who are the farmers that we work with, where are they? They want to know the history of our farmers, which we can do. They want to have the certainty that we don't work with children, there's no child labor, that we don't work with prisoners. So these are key requirements that we need to prove to our clients. The next step is traceability. So any chili that we export, we need to show where we actually got it from the seed to the field, to the inputs that have been applied, to the crate where we have bought them from, and then the entire processing step all the way to the export. And lastly, accountability. Have the farmers been paid? Was the price fair? Have they been paid the full amount? If you work with 8,000 farmers, this is a rather complex enterprise, and you need to manage that. So in order to be able to do that, we have a supply chain management software that we use. It is called Equatot, and it does help us to manage all the different aspects of the supply chain. So the software helps us to manage all the different steps in the supply chain, and it starts from the registration of the farmers and the signing of the contracts. So the registration means that we have all the demographic information of the farmer. We know to which group he belongs, he knows where he lives. We have the GPS coordinates of his homestead, of the fields, but also of the collection centers and the meeting points where we meet the farmers for trainings. Then the system helps us to manage the fields. So from the seed that we provide to the farmers as a loan, to then the planting information, the size of the field, the GPS coordinates of the field. It helps us to manage the inputs that have been applied to the field, to the actual moment of the harvesting. The system helps us to manage trainings, to schedule trainings, to schedule surveys, compliance surveys, but also to then actually start the buying process. So we schedule the collections. So we have fixed collection routes. Each group knows exactly at what time and where they have to supply the chilies to. And then we do a group grading. We assess together the quality of the produce that the farmers have supplied us with, and then we collect. So we have specifically numbered crates for this process. So the moment when we collect, with the mobile application, we then select the farmer. We select the field where we are buying the produce from. We scan the barcode of the crate where the chilies are going into. We weigh the amount that the farmer has delivered to us, and we can actually automatically pick it from a Bluetooth scale to basically eliminate any human error that might happen in this entire process. Now from there, then our vehicle comes to the office. We have the entire reception process. So we receive the product, we then sample, because we want to assess the quality in-house as well. So our grading team is doing that, and then from there it moves into the dryer. Again, fully traceable. We have tray cards that help us to recognize which produce went into which tray, and then we continuously try until the product is ready. We have a number of different KPIs that we apply to assess whether the produce is ready for basically the next processing step. And then from there we do sort and then pack and then eventually export.
Equator Kenya Limited is in the spice industry. They need to make sure that they meet the high quality criteria from the European Union. So Equatot is very important specifically to manage the traceability of the product. So through Equatot, they manage the traceability all the way back, basically from the seed that the farmers planted, the seedlings, the fields where the plants were planted, the collection centers, basically throughout the processing all the way to the final end user. So this helps them, and at the end the farmers, to have a certain market in which the company can grow further, and Equatot Solutions plays an important role in the company.
We pay our farmers monthly, so we combine all the monthly payments into one big payment. And we also do apply quality parameters. So we only buy red chilies, so we don't buy green, we don't buy orange, we don't buy rotten or diseased chilies. We want to make sure that the quality we buy is the best, and this is what we want to sell to our clients. Now, in order to provide the best quality to our clients, we need to make sure that also the inputs are safe, and this is a big headache. So in the past, farmers sometimes would use seed that they have harvested themselves, and then they had paprikas planted next to chilies, and you get some sort of a funny chili mix. That is not what we want to buy. So in order to make sure that our farmers do plant the correct variety, we have now a tissue culture project where we basically produce our own seed, and this seed we provide to the farmers. Through the software, we basically built this traceability step and also an accountability system integrated into the system, where we are able now from the packers to assign traceable seed to the field officer. The field officer takes it to the farmer. The farmer receives the seed against a loan, so this is something that we can also do now, and receives a receipt. At the same time, the system generates basically a loan for the farmer for the seed, and it's a small amount. It's 100 shilling per unit of seed, which is not a lot, but it helps us to create this accountability, to make sure that we know who has actually received our seed. It helps us to create this transparency and the traceability that is required for our final market. The system then also helps us, so Equatot helps us to then recover all the outstanding payments. We can structure that against future deliveries, which we also realize is what the farmers want. So a couple of months ago, we did a farmer survey, and farmers said they do want to plant correctly. So they do want to have quality seed, they do want to have the right inputs, and there are especially pesticides. Because also the pesticides legislation in the EU is becoming every time more difficult and more complicated. So there are very few chemicals that we can actually use for the application in the field. To make sure that the farmers use the right chemicals, we do actually provide them to the farmers as an input. Now the farmers would not be able to buy them themselves in advance, but they're very happy to take them as a credit and then repay against future deliveries. And this is what we do offer.
Kwa majina yangu ni Mark Mutunga Kaloki, na mimi ni mkulima wa aina ya chili inayoitwa kachichawa hapa Msabaa, Malindi. Mfumo wa pembejeo ambao ninapata kutoka Equator Kenya unanifaa kabisa, kwa sababu unanipumzisha mambo ya kuenda kwa maduka kutafuta hapa na pale. Nikitembelewa na wataalamu kutoka Equator Kenya, alafu wakinieleza, basi wananiletea zile pembejeo ambazo ninahitaji, basi mimi ninakuwa niko sorted. Stakabadhi ambazo kampuni ya Equator Kenya inanipatia zinafaa kabisa. Zinaniwezesha kuweka rekodi mzuri, na ninaona pale nimetoka na pale ninaelekea. So ninaridhika.
The receipts help us again to have this transparency and accountability in the field. And then in the office, we process then transparent payment overviews. So you will see then from the quality to past production data to the farmers that have supplied us with chilies, the amount of kilos that they have provided us with, Then the rejection criteria, so it very clearly says premature, rotten, disease, and then the exported quality that is accepted, or the export quality that we would accept. And then it will show you any outstanding loan amounts, how much we have deducted from the payment and the net payments. With this system, we basically managed to create a very strong company, a very loyal farmer base, full transparency and accountability and traceability, which at the end is important for our clients. So together with ASDSP, we have a couple of different projects. One that is really key for us is the seed traceability, and it starts with the right seed material. A couple of years back, we have started already creating tissue culture plants that we use for seed production. We have realized that the seed is good, but I think there's still room for improvement, especially in terms of heat, in terms of production. So we want to have a second round, select again together and probably a bit more professional with the help of ASDSP, the right seed material that we then will provide to a company in Naivasha, and they will produce then the tissue culture plant for us. This will help us to further improve the quality and the quality of the produce that we will be able to supply to our clients, but also increase the productivity in the farmer field. So we will specifically target plants that are producing a lot of chilies. And then the next thing where we closely work together with ASDSP is with the compliance. So we are working towards achieving certification of the farmers. At the moment, it looks like we will do the Kenyan Standard 1758, but we might as well shift to Global Gap certification, which again is a big workload ahead, working with 8,000 farmers, but we are very confident that we will achieve that.
Food safety is increasingly becoming important, not only in Kenya but in the whole world, because the consumer population is getting aware of the need to eat healthy foods. And for our case in Kenya, the government is implementing the KS 1758 standards, through which every producer along the value chain is supposed to comply so as to get a guarantee of the market. KS 1758 is being a standard, a food safety standard, very soon is going to start being enforced. This means those farmers or those producers along the value chain who will not comply will lose out of the market. They will not be able to access the market because it will be a requirement that you must satisfy the conditions and the issues they are in the case 1758. So for our farmers, the risk is that if they don't comply, then they lose out of the market. They lose the market. Seed is a major input in crop production. You get the wrong seed, you get the wrong produce. When you are issuing the seeds to farmers, you need to confirm that what you gave them really is what they planted, so that the produce will be what the market wants. So it is imperative to have a seed traceability system, whereby one is able to know the seeds that were distributed, how have they been planted, or are we getting other seeds from elsewhere. So it is important to have a seed traceability system for us to ensure good quality produce.